Okay, so I'm going to rattle off a quick guide as to how I go around auditing my local parish council. This is something that is fairly simple skills. It's just knowing what to look for, really. So start off with the agenda that gets published. It should have a date on it to say when it was published and the date of the meeting, when that's going to happen. When going through this, all I'm really looking for is anything that stands out as being a little bit quirky, a little bit weird, a little bit... I'm not too sure why that's there. And there'll be numerous reasons why you might think that about something. For me, one of the things that stuck out was this petanque bowls piece here. At the moment, Northiam Parish Council has got a survey going out to the public to ask them, what it is they want to see in the village. So it seems a bit weird the Parish Council will be considering doing that when that survey's still in progress. And also anything that claims to be free or is going to be cheap or, not a bother for the parish council. It's an easy thing for the parish council to do. It's just something simple, and there's nothing to worry about. Anything like that should ring alarm bells. So in this one here, a resident has requested the parish council consider permitting a petanque bowls piece on the playing fields close to the entrance near the notice board. If the council are of the opinion that this would be acceptable, then they would cover the cost of the work, meaning the residents who have requested this, or the resident that's requested this. Having considered the idea, to agree to permit the installation of a court subject to liaising with the working group and clerk about the exact location and safety measures. So that's what the parish council, the bit in bold is what the parish council will actually be deciding. This has background information, a report if you like, to go with it. So obviously you need to check that out. So click on that. The first thing I'll look for in these reports is who's written it, and there's nothing at the top to say who's written it, and there's nothing at the bottom to say who's written it. It's not signed off by anyone. You can speculate why somebody might not want to put their name to something. It's, justify it how you will. Does the person think they're so important they don't need to put their name on it, or is it that they're trying to hide their name? Who knows? But typically it's easy enough if you PDFs or Word documents, document properties, and we can see that this was written by Sue Schlesinger, who till recently was one of the councillors. And then you need to work out, do you trust that person? Yeah, I don't, for a number of reasons. That's my personal business, though. It's down to you to decide when you're auditing this stuff. So, going through this report, looking at what it is they're proposing. Does it make sense? Is it well written? What's the costs? What they considered? What haven't they considered that you can think of? And this is of some length. So I started going through this. Not cost the council anything. Red flag. As far as I'm concerned, anything that says that it's not going to cost the council anything, there is always the potential that it's going to cost the council something. There are a couple of residents who are prepared to finance it. Well, what if the project turns out to be a lot more expensive than the residents who are going to be project managing this and doing it? What if it becomes too expensive for them halfway through? Are they just going to pull out and leave a big mess, a literal hole in the ground? They've noted that they do need the council's permission for this to go ahead, because they're technically building, they are building on council land. So council permission is needed. So they've identified a place for it to go. It would measure a maximum of 15 by 4 metres, probably 12 metres by 3 metres. I mean, which is it going to be? You're proposing this to the council are going to agree to it or not agree to it. There is a size difference. It might not seem like much, but there is a size difference. You know, the council should know exactly what it is they're agreeing up front, because what if they turn up and they've dug it, I don't know, 20 metres by 6 metres or whatever, who knows. The ground will be prepared as described below in building a piece. So that interested me, because how much does this councillor know about building this? So it's quite interesting. So, no need for building contractors, as the construction of the site can easily be done by volunteers. Well, how are you going to get the materials to site? You know, are you going to be having dumper trucks on the playing fields? You know, what about when the kids are playing on there? What about when the football club are using it? All these kind of things, you know, it's just sort of like blown away with it. No need, you don't need to worry about it, it's not a problem. There are various materials that can be used to play on, again described below, fine, whatever. A sign would need to be displayed to hopefully prevent dogs using it or children assuming it's a sandpit. Now obviously that's clumsy language, but we can infer that she's trying to say that, you know, hopefully the owners of the dogs not permit their dogs to mess on it or foul on it, you know, and stop their children from using it as a sandpit or whatever. And also there needs to be enough room for push sticks to get by. Fine, they've considered that at least, so that's good. Right, so then we get on to, you know, building it, and there's a little bit of construction method down here. It's you know, clearly this isn't written by Sue. This is written to somebody or by somebody instructing somebody else how to do it. Like, don't be tempted to make the topping too deep. Now, Sue is not a tank construction specialist at all. She's parish councillor. So this hasn't come from her. And then we got this down here, materials needed, like, you know, question mark tons, question mark tons, question mark tons. Like, all of this stuff, you know, from the bits further down should be easy to work out, but she hasn't bothered to do the calculations, which again, you know, would be helpful to the council, because they might be able to ascertain, you know, what kind of vehicles need to get access to and from the site. Well, I mean, what if this was 100 tons of material that it turned out to be? I mean, you can have dumper trucks turning up every day. Like, it's all a bit wishy-washy. But then going on down here, construction, this is extremely detailed, which is, I mean, it's clear that Sue hasn't written this, compared to what she's written above. It talks about British standard numbers for materials, and you know, exact sizes of the gravel that's going to be used, and even price per tons, which I'm assuming is what these residents, who I believe turned out to be Sue herself and one of the CIC directors, have based this all on. And I don't know whether they've considered whether or not those prices are current. I suspect that they're not current, having looked them up myself. But one of the things that I did do was, because this was so different, was just take this, right click it, search Google, and top two results. One was the Northiam Parish Council version of this phrase that's been found, and the other one was in this document here. So let's have a look at that. And as you can see, this is a, you know, fairly good publication. It's you know, technical all the way through. It's written by this gentleman here, Brian Forbes. It's of a third edition, written in 2021, which is why I suspect the prices are all out, because this is at least 4 years old, and if Brian hasn't updated his prices in his thing since, say, edition 1, who knows how old those prices actually are. But sure enough, down here we can see this whole section here, the construction method, all the way through down to here is exactly the same as this, with a couple of exceptions. So one of the things that flagged this up to me was the very first sentence, starting from scratch on an undeveloped piece of ground. That's clearly not a sentence, that's half a sentence. How's it half a sentence? Why would somebody start with half a sentence? It's because up here is this. This is the start of the sentence. The most involved scenario is the first option above, starting from scratch on an undeveloped piece of ground. In fact, there's only 3 minor changes in total, including this one, that I found within this and within this, the rest of this report. And before anyone thinks that I was sitting there side by side comparing every single word, I didn't. Obviously, there's an online tool for that, and that is called diffchecker. It's just on diffchecker.com. And if you go to diffchecker.com, you can copy a piece of text in here, the one that you're comparing it to there, find the difference, and it will highlight the differences for you. I use this in my professional work, so I know of this tool, and it's a good tool to use. In itself, what's so bad about this? Well, what annoys me about it is that in the meeting, as you'll see in a minute, she was saying, well, we don't need to worry about planning permission and stuff like that. Now, I mentioned planning permission in the meeting precisely because, well, 2 reasons. One, this document is from this website, docs.planning.org.uk, and if we go to planning.org.uk, as you can probably imagine, it is a website for planning alerts. So instantly, if this document has been included on a previous planning alert, it's part of a planning permission request in some capacity. Not only that, I'm not saying Sue's copied this, or somebody has definitely got this information originally from this document, but immediately before the construction method, there's this whole page here that says, before you go any further, permissions, and it's got this whole section here talking about the need to go and get planning permission to do this activity, including speaking to Environment Agency and Highways Agency. Start warnings at the end. Do not take an educated guess or fondly believe that all will be okay. Check beforehand and follow what you're told to do. You have been warned. Now, again, the problem is the parish council allow this to go ahead and think that it's all okay because Sue, their trusted councillor, has said, yeah, it's not a problem. And in the meeting she said, well, it's no different from a sandpit and you don't need planning permission from a sandpit. Well, this guy who wrote this document says that you do need planning permission and you should definitely go and check it out and comply with what you should do. And it's either been ignored or not in the source of information that they actually got it from. But why they didn't check that source of information, because as I showed you, simple Google search, just one bit of it throws up this document. What would happen if the parish council had given permission and they had paid for this thing to be constructed, the residents had paid for this, and the district council, who's our planning authority, came along and said, you don't have planning permission for that. You either need to rip it up or get retrospective. And parish councils then left in a quandary. Do they pay to repair the damage that's been done and revert it back to how it was, or do they try to get Sue and whoever else was paying for this to stump up the money for the planning permission? They can't do that. It's the council's land. The council are responsible for it. They haven't leased the land. It's not like this is under the terms of a lease where a petanque club has been set up and they've got control of this land and therefore the use of it is on them. This is all going to be on the parish council. So, it's things like that you need to look out for, and what you should question. I mean, a good parish councillor should be finding this stuff out anyway. You know, like questioning reports like this, doing this kind of stuff as part of the course. But if you want to audit your parish council, this is the kind of thing that I do. Okay, so you've now got your information, the stuff that you're unsure about, concerned about, or sort of think that the council's not being told the truth about in some cases, or whatever. What do you do with that information? What do you do with your research? Now you can go a number of possible routes. You can bring it to the council meeting if it's on the agenda. Most councils have a public session where you can raise questions about anything on the agenda. You'll have to check the rules for your own local council because they can vary as to what can and can't be discussed. Some allow you to talk about anything at all. Some have multiple sessions where it might be appropriate for you to bring it up at the start of the meeting before anyone's voted on it, or you might want to bring it up at the end of the meeting after everyone's voted on it. You can also just take it to social media if you're that confident in what you found and it's hideously wrong or whatever. I don't personally think that's a good way to go. I think you should typically ask the council and try to get it in before the vote. Now the idea is not to stop the activity going ahead, it's to make councillors question stuff properly and thoroughly look at stuff, because it's all too easy for a councillor to have been focused on another item or skip something, and for them to just stick up their hand in favour with their mates or other people in the council. Nobody else has found a problem with this, so I'm going to stick my hand up and say that there's no problem with this, we're going to allow this. Again, as part of the don't assume anything, you'll see in this instance I took this to the council meeting, and I didn't assume that Sue wrote the document. I suspected that she did. I'd found evidence that it was written on a computer with that author name, but that doesn't mean that she wrote it. So I asked the question, who wrote the document? She volunteered herself, stuck her hand up, said it was her. You'll see also that a number of councillors had also looked into this and found stuff for themselves, which they report. So the chair, Councillor Fairbrass, made some points similar about planning permission. She'd obviously done her research on that, and Councillor Wadey, I believe, asked a question about insurance as well, which is something that I hadn't considered at all. Is the council's public liability insurance going to be affected by having this in place? Are the council going to be liable for any accidents that happen on it? And if the council aren't building it, is that going to be a problem? All of that kind of stuff. It shows signs that these people are considering what's on the table. Anyone who just goes, oh yeah, sounds like a great idea, I don't think they've looked into it. But let's take a look and see what happened. First of all, in the public questions session where I raised this, and following on from that, how the council voted on it.
Okay, so the next part is to adjourn the meeting to enable members of the public to ask some questions. Just before we do, I am going to, when we move on, I am going to split things so that we can deal with council business now, and then obviously I know everyone's really interested in the investigation and want to ask questions, so we will deal with that in the second part, if that's okay. So any questions with regards to the agenda with regard to public council business?
Except for the AGAR and except for the inquiry.
Yes.
Anything else but for those two?
Hey Ben.
Hi, I've got a question about the tank pitch east. It's kind of like putting the agenda that it's assumed to be done. It's it's just let's vote on it. Do we not need planning permission for that? I read the report. I couldn't see which councillor wrote the report because it's not named. But
I wrote it actually.
oh, you wrote it.
Yeah.
Do we not need planning permission for the?
Not that I know of, but you don't need one for a sand pit, so I guess you don't need one for a tank pit.
With regard to petanque pitches, on parish council land, dependent upon the size, is then when you have to look into planning permission, and it is at the discretion of the local council that is giving that permission. So that's something that we'll have to look at.
Yep.
So it's not down to Robert to decide.
It would be down to Rother, yes. So we would have to discuss with Rother the size in which we wanted it to be done. There's many different sizes that you can have. So depending on that size, we would need to ascertain from them if we would need the planning permission, because obviously there are things that need to be done. It needs to be dug down. And
yeah, it does, but it isn't a match size. It's a single petanque pitch, which I don't think you need permission for.
Exactly. So if we
But
ask the question,
if you're having 3 lanes so that you can have inter-matches, then I thought
I don't know much about the tank. I thought I'd look into it because I knew the question was going to come. So.
Okay, so that's something. Thank you, Ben. That we will ask the question and look into.
Yeah, because obviously if it requires planning permission, then who's going to pay for it? Is it going to be the council or the person who's putting up the money for the rest of it?
That will be something that we will look into should we need the planning permission, and once the decision has been decided to go ahead with it.
as you're actually talking about
I
it,
think.
I'm actually putting money in towards the petanque pitch because I've been asked so many times, and I'm quite happy to pay for it as a donation to do it. And a couple of other residents are also to do it, so it will be covered. It won't cost the parish council anything.
Does that mean that you can't vote for it tonight?
No, I won't.
You take that as an interest at the start.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Ben. If another governance issue, I didn't excuse myself from council. I know.
Thank you. Is there any other questions? No. Okay. So that's the close. Okay. Thank you. And petanque balls piece. Background information. A resident has requested the parish councillor to consider permitting a petanque balls piece on the playing field close to the entrance near the notice board. If the councillor of the opinion that this would be acceptable, then they would cover the cost of the work. Having considered the idea to agree to permit the installation of court, subject to liaising with the working group and clerk about exact location and safety measures.
Yep. Happy.
Yep.
I was just going to ask about, someone's already mentioned about the planning consent or potential planning consent for it to be done. And I wondered about the public liability insurance because it's going to become a village asset. I assume the village will be owning it.
Right.
Will the village own it?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you'd
I
have to have
don't
a
own it.
license.
I'm giving it to the village.
Yeah.
But that would come under our general public
Will
liability.
will that increase the premium?
Yeah.
Because it's an additional
About
Not
petanque.
particularly. I'd be
Oh,
surprised.
you play?
A little bit.
Okay.
It will be a
Okay.
little bit, but not
Jackie
huge.
plays, so she can give us some information.
Yeah, I'm a tank player. I've played for the county, and that's where I'm going tomorrow. If you play tank in a pub, when we used to run the league, you have to get the licensee to ask them to notify their insurer that there will be petanque played in their grounds.
That's in a pub.
Yeah. So
Well, that's probably the same for us. It would
I
be.
would imagine it would be the same.
So as long
So
as
it's
we
just
are
a
aware that
question
it's
of
being
if you
played.
want to do it, speak to your insurers and they will advise. They've never charged the pubs anymore.
And do you bring your own balls? Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I imagine these balls being there and
No,
these
no.
random kids coming up and just
No.
what a,
No.
Very
Well, I know
special.
nothing about
Very
it.
special steel balls. You have your own set.
in a little bag.
Yeah,
Oh,
we know what to get you for Christmas now.
I've got some.
have you got some? Yeah. Do you play?
No.
Oh, okay. You're waiting for
What's
this.
the time now? You don't yet.
I just wanted to point out that this writing of it, it says if the councillor of the option that this would be acceptable, then they would cover the cost. It sounds like the councillor
sorry,
covering
no.
the cost, and it isn't.
No, then
Whatever.
the residents.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, so
Thank you.
So what are we doing? We're agreeing, because again, having considered the idea to agree to permit the installation.
Yeah.
So we're agreeing to have it installed.
But are you going to
Yeah.
say with the proviso
Subject.
of checking with Robert
Subject
as planning?
Okay, so is everyone in agreement that you would like to permit the installation subject to all of the agreements that we need planning, etc., etc.?
Yeah.
Can I just ask, does it have a cover of the tank, please? I don't remember seeing
So,
it. And is there
any
any
animals urinate and stuff in it? Is it like a giant
Cat's
sand
tray.
trap? Yeah, no.
Is it sand or pea beach?
It's grit, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
a sort of gritty stuff.
Like a granite grit or something.
Is it going to be a problem with
Animals.
animals on the park?
Well, I'm the playing field. Animals, dogs should be on the lead. However, I saw one today that was not on the lead.
Never on the lead.
Well, yes.
Well, not
then-
never, but quite a lot on the lead.
I hope not. I mean, I suppose you could put a cover on it, and you just take it off when you want to play.
Do they have covers, any of them?
Absolutely not.
No, exactly.
Absolutely not.
They're meant to be weathered.
Are they?
That's the whole point.
I know nothing about it. I can't. I'm not even
With
pretend
one
I do.
exception, I had an outdoor beast at the pub
Oh, yeah.
and also had an indoor one for the winter.
Very grand.
It was. And went down very well, especially with the alcohol.
So you were doing a single one. Can you remind me what size that was?
Yes, it's well, to look, I guess it's 12 metres by 3 metres
That's about
of a single one.
Yeah, okay.
But if you're having league matches, they quite often have 3 pieces next to each other, and I think that's when it becomes.
There's one down at Bexhill on the prom there. It's just open. It's just got sleepers round it. It's got that grit down. People just come along and play as and when.
Okay.
crowd as
Much like they
Yes,
do
I
at
have.
park.
All right. So is everyone in agreement with that?
Yeah.
Can we have Thank you. Obviously, Sue, please do not.
No, I haven't voted. Please notice not. I didn't put that on.
Sue did not vote.
Yeah.
But not Sue. Yeah. Okay. I've lost myself. Local nature recovery.
So hopefully you can see there the purpose of this is, as I said earlier, not to stop the thing, but it's to make sure the council is being steered in the right direction and is not being steered down a wrong path. You want to make sure that the council is aware that there are obligations, because at the end of the day, councillors only know what councillors know. And if you know something that they don't, then you should speak up and say now before they act in a way that is either unlawful or could put the council in a difficult position later on, where the council is compelled to waste money fixing a problem that didn't need to exist. Which is again why I pulled up Sue in the public session. I said to her, well, if you're paying for it, surely that means that that's an interest of yours, and you should have declared that as an interest at the start, which she should have done. And again, I still think it's wrong that she's put this on the table with only her and one other person who is associated to the council as well, asking for this or suggesting that they're going to pay for it. It just seems self-serving to me. I guess at the end of the day, what you need to do, you've done your bit for now. The council has resolved to allow it, so long as all the checks and balances and other things that all their other queries or whatever are sorted out, which is fine. And when it next comes to the agenda, and the council is suggesting that it pays for the planning permission because it does need planning permission, or it needs to pay for advice on planning permission or whatever, you need to be ready to say, well, that's not what was agreed. If that's a cost of this project and these people want to take it forward, they need to pay for it. And if they pay for it, fine. You're not there to tell the council what to do. You're just there to try and make sure, as I said just a moment ago, make sure that it's not doing anything unlawful, because that's when it starts costing you, the taxpayer, and your friends in your villages and towns. That's when it starts costing you all money. I hope that explains what I do and why I do it. And good luck with whatever it is you're investigating. All right, thanks a lot. Thanks for watching.